Google Read Along is one of Google's newest beta tools that they have been working on rolling out. Read Along is an opportunity for your students to practice their fluency, and they do that with an AI friend named Dia, who listens to them read and provides feedback and help as they are reading aloud. Read Along was just recently turned on in our district, and you can find it in Google Classroom as a way to assign lessons to your students. To do that, go into your Google Classroom and navigate to the classwork page. Click on Create and choose Assignments. And when you do, you will notice that there is the new Read Along button here. When you click that, it will launch for you. The very first time, you'll have some welcome steps where it'll explain a little bit about the program. But you'll notice that once you are officially in the program, you have the ability to determine what types of material you are assigning to your students. I can choose from leveled reads and decodables. I can select a piece for my students to read based on either their Lexile or their grade. So this is where our STAR data is really going to come into play, knowing those Lexiles for our students. I can filter according to Lexile. So I could say, well, maybe I just want things in this 300 to 400 level. And I can choose to add a language learner support. What that means is Dia and the hints are going to come to them in Spanish. It will not actually change the language of the book itself. However, you will notice at the top that I can filter my books by language. And so you can see that I am automatically in English, but for our bilingual classes, we can actually choose some Spanish books. There are not quite as many selections in Spanish, but this is a very new program, so I expect to see a lot more books in all languages and potentially other languages as well. Once you have decided on a book that you think is appropriate for your students, let's say I think this one on giraffes here is exactly what I'm looking for, I can click on that story to get an idea of what my students will be reading. Once it loads all the way, I can choose to just attach it, or if I want, I can click to try the student view to actually read the story myself. So I'm going to click in to try the student view, make sure this is actually what I want my students to be reading. Maybe it's information that is working alongside a unit that I'm working on, or just make sure that it's actually what I am envisioning the assignment to be. When I click on Start Reading, you can see that as I am working here, Dia is listening for me to read. Because I have not actually started reading yet, she's going to try to give me some suggestions. So let's go to the next page and I'm going to read like I'm a student. Giraffes have spots. As you can see, if I do a good job, she's going to give me positive feedback. On the next page I'm going to jump to, I'm going to intentionally misread something so that you can see how she works with me. Giraffes have a legs. Giraffes. So as you can see, as our students are reading, as our students read, Dia is very good at hearing when they are struggling with a word and giving feedback. She will then have them go back and repeat those words. You can see on the previous pages where I maybe mispronounce things, it identifies it in the underline so that you can know what it is that you need to go back and take a look at with your students. Once you have decided that you like the activity for your students, you can just hit that back arrow to go back and click on Attach to attach that activity to your Google Classroom, and your students are able to use it. Now, since we know that many of our students are at different levels, this is a really important time to make sure that we are differentiating and not giving the same piece to all of our students. Notice that in students, we now can create groups, so we can make our leveled groups of students within our classroom to make easier assigning, but to also assign appropriate material to each group. Again, Read Along is a very, very new program, so I'm sure there will be lots of updates and changes over the coming weeks. But so far, this seems like a really great opportunity to have our students practice their fluency and get some real-time feedback from their new AI friend, Dia.